What's up, MetaNerdz? This video is all about the legend story of Luke's first students at his Jedi Praxeum, also known as his Jedi Academy. The original class consisted of 12 students, so let's find out who they were, and how Luke even found these other force-sensatives. First up was Tion, a human female from Renato, who grew up listening to stories passed down from her grandmother about the heroic Jedi Knights. The Empire cultivated such an environment of fear that someone in the community told the authorities, and stormtroopers executed the little old lady for trying to romanticize the traitorous evil Jedi. Seeing the intense cruelty of the Empire firsthand, Tion fled with Grandma's double vial and made a living playing music in cantinas across the galaxy. When word spread that the Rebel Alliance had destroyed the second of the Empire's massive planet-destroying battle stations, and with it took down the Emperor and his enforcer Darth Vader, rumors started spreading about a man called Luke Skywalker who claimed to be a Jedi Knight. Though she was now an adult, Tion was still fascinated with the Jedi, to the point that she was hunting down old Jedi temples and trying to learn their history. One day, when she couldn't pay an informant for the location of a temple, she told him that Luke Skywalker would pay him greatly for this information, a lie she used to get free info, and set up a meeting with the now legendary Jedi. Luke saw that she had a weak strength in the Force, but invited her on in the role of Jedi historian. She would search for lost Jedi texts and academies, piecing together Jedi history, and she also wrote many ballads about them that she would sing to the other students. Eventually, she would fall in love and get married to Cam Solazar, another student at the Academy. Cam was a human male, whose father Rannick was a Jedi Master. His dad was killed by Darth Vader, who then took Cam and turned him to the dark side. His memories were wiped in this process, and he would later be personally selected by the cloned Palpatine to become a part of the dark side elite, and would first run into Luke in 10.5 ABY. Skywalker sensed that he had great strength in the Force, and through massive efforts was able to turn Cam back to the light. He was crucial in helping New Republic forces destroy cloned Palpatine's flagship, and in 11 ABY, Luke invited him to Yavin 4, where Cam would become one of the most powerful Jedi Knights. Cam and Luke grew to be close friends, and he even presided over Luke and Mara Jade's wedding. Dorsk 81 was a Comite, and was actually a clone, as his people had decided that they were at the pinnacle of their evolutionary growth, and so the whole population cloned themselves, and his name meant that he was the 81st clone of a Comite named Dorsk. Despite attempts to prevent deviations, the Force awakened in him, giving him abilities that made him dramatically different from his peers. He never felt like he fit in, and was resolved to live life as a failure and an outcast, until he heard about the rebuilding of a Jedi Academy. Through contacting the right sources in the New Republic, he made his way to Yavin 4, and presented himself to Luke. He was accepted, but this new life would still bring great sorrow. The Imperial Remnant wanted to punish these new Jedi, and took it out on those species' homeworld. And Dorsk 81 was later killed when the Imperial Remnant brought their attack to the Jedi Academy itself. Kirana Tai was a Dathomirian witch from the Singing Mountain clan, one of the most skilled Rancor riding clans on her homeworld. Han Solo crash-landed the Millennium Falcon in their territory, which attracted the rival Night Sister clan, resulting in a large battle between the two Dathomirian groups. Luke came to Solo's aid, and when the fighting was over, he asked the Singing Mountain clan if he could examine the wreckage of an ancient Jedi ship. Kirana Tai was one of those tasked with helping Skywalker, and 3 years later, he would invite the witch to come study with him. She would later be crucial in rallying the students in their fight against the spirit of Exar Kun. Brachus was a human male, whose strength in the Force was detected when he was still a baby, and the Empire actually took him and turned him into an Inquisitor. The Inquisitorius remained even after the cloned Emperor was killed, and they sent Brachus to infiltrate the Jedi School in an attempt to undermine it from within. The problem was that Luke could sense the conflict in him, as he didn't willingly choose the dark side, but was brainwashed from childhood, and so he was slowly able to bring Brachus to the light side, though this process was not completely successful. During one training session, Brachus had a breakdown upon seeing the depth of the dark side within him, causing him to leave the Academy, and eventually he fell into the Imperial Remnant. He was contacted by the Emperor via hologram, and instructed to build a new Dark Jedi Academy. The Emperor led an attack on Yavin 4, but when the battle seemed lost, Brachus forced his way into the Emperor's chamber, discovering that it was just a royal guard operating a machine that generated a hologram by combining different speeches made by the Emperor in the past. He killed all the guards there, except for one, who was able to detonate the battle station, and sadly, Brachus died broken, lost, and still in the dark side of the Force. Streen was once a Tabana gas prospector who mined his own gas on Tabanaopolis, the abandoned and second largest city on Bespin after Cloud City. He chose this line of work because as a boy, his abilities and Force empathy made it so that he was overwhelmed by the emotions of those around him, forcing him into the solitary work of a miner. Stories spread of this man's ability to telepathically control this flying species called rocks, accounts which eventually made their way to Luke. He sought out Streen and convinced him to join the Academy with the promise of learning how to control his abilities so that one day he could enjoy sentient company. Things went well for the relatively older man, and he both helped in the fight against Exar Kun and the Yuuzhan Vong before helping to establish another Jedi Academy on Dathomir. So that's it for part 1 of Luke's first students in his Jedi Praxeum. We'll cover the other 6 students in part 2, so I hope to see all you guys there soon. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you, always.